So good evening everyone. Can I have the slides please? So do you remember this very popular scene from the iconic movie Three Idiots? Yes? Abba nahi manenge, which literally translates to dad will not agree. You know, this is a dilemma which many of us has faced in our life. We can resonate to this, that things which we do in our life and things which we want to do in our life are very, very different. All right. So just go back. Okay. So this creates a problem in our life in terms of we not aligned to our core and not getting satisfied in what we do. Just go to. There is a study by an international firm called Gallup which says that only 23% of the entire audience feels connected to what they do in their life, and the remaining are dissatisfied with their daily course. And the genesis of this is basically when you are not aligned to who you are. And this is not just a career, about choosing what career to go into. This is a major and a bigger problem which most of the youngsters today are facing. And not only youngsters, people who are in their career later at some stages also, they face this question every now and then. I'll give you a framework today on how to evaluate this. This framework I have used and I hope this will help you also. Alright. So basically, if you want to create a lot of wealth in your life and if you want to have a satisfying journey of career, thank you. A satisfied career in your, a satisfied career, then you need to align your core, your experiences and your ambitions. What are these three components? We will discuss one by one. So let us first come to, core. Core is something what you are, your deep desires, your beliefs, your value system, your DNA. It is something which you will do even if you are not paid for, right? It comes from within. You need to understand and identify who you are. Identification is one thing, right? That will not solve all your problems. It takes a lot of courage to do what you feel from inside. Going back to Farhan Qureshi's story from Three Idiots, right? He wanted to become a photographer, right? Wildlife photographer, but his dad wanted him to be an engineer. And he was under the parental pressure, societal pressure to get into engineering, right? He showed courage and from there he got into, what he wanted to be. But that's not true for most of us. We can't show that courage all the time. See, luckily for me, my core has been always was to do business, and that's what I did. It came from my family because everyone around was in business. Our dinner table talks used to be around, balance sheets and about what revenue is coming in this month and what are the struggles they are facing. So these things came very naturally. So that became the core. You have to identify your core and align it with I call next, which is experiences. So what are the experiences? Experiences are the sum total of all the learning which we go through, the ideologies which we gather, right? The experiences of the work which we do, and most importantly, if you look at it, these four quadrants is basically whatever we do in terms of right from our college days to our work and after that. So everything put together, we need to understand that we need to align our core with our experiences. The most important aspect of a wonderful career or making a lot of wealth is learning. And let me tell you, 70%, again this is through a long-term study which has been done through Harvard Business Review. So 70% of all the learning which we gather in our life happens through the tough assignments which we face, the challenges which we face in our job. Just 20% of it comes from the mentoring and coaching which happens. And the formal education of which you all are part right now, it contributes to 10% of the entire learning which you will gather in your life. So friends, the journey has just begun of learning, and You will have to gather and you have to be a continuous learner, a lifelong learner to keep evolving and to have orbital shift from one career to the other, from one level of earning to the other level of learning, from one level of wealth to the other level of wealth. Any orbital shift is not possible if you are not continuously enhancing your learning. But let me tell you, if you put together all the experiences, these can be a double-edged sword also. Because if your experiences are aligned with who you are truly from inside your core, then it creates wonder for you. It will be a wonderful journey. But if they are not aligned, it will drag you down, right? So you have to understand that whatever learnings you are gathering, whatever work you are doing, internships which you are doing, all should be in alignment. It might take some time to reach there, but you should always aspire to be aligned with what you do. Let me give you an example. Gathering the right experiences. You know them, Sachin Bansal and Binny Bansal, the founders of Flipkart. They worked with Amazon and they gained experiences which are related to building a large e-commerce platform, logistics and so on, which actually helped them build a enormous enterprise in India, which is the biggest e-commerce platform today, Flipkart. So similarly, if your experiences are aligned, you can create wonders. But if they are not aligned, then you will not reach your ambition. And that brings me to the third critical component of our success, which is ambition. You have to understand that if everything is fine, your core, you are aware of your core and you have the courage to pursue it. You have aligned your experiences towards it also. But you will never reach greater heights if you don't aspire to reach greater heights, right? So your aspirations, your ambitions becomes very, very important. These are the North Star which will show you the light, the direction. It's actually this which keeps you awake when others are sleeping. It keeps you grounded when things are getting difficult by the day. So have your ambition very, very clearly defined. There is a study which says that around 42% of the people who write down their ambitions or people who have it clearly defined it for them, 42% people reach their ambition or meet their goals more than people who have not written it. And 63% people feel more fulfilled when they have clearly defined ambitions. So one very important aspect of success is you need to define it. If your success is not defined, even if you reach there, you will not understand whether you are successful or not, right? So, but how do you achieve this alignment? It's easier said than done. I have repeated a couple of times that you need to have a perfect alignment between your core, your experience and your ambition. But it's very, very difficult thing. Very few of us actually achieve that. Let me give you some practical tips to align these three. First one is, as I told you, write down who you are as an individual. Writing is a very, very important technique to be clear in your mind. The moment you write it on paper, it becomes clearer, your thought becomes more structured, right? So reflect deeply on what is your core and then try to live your core, have the courage to do that. See, one more thing which I will tell you is, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to create wealth, but you are not ready from inside to take the responsibility because it is not in alignment with your core, there is no compulsion for you to do entrepreneurship or do a startup, because you are not that kind of person who can have sleepless night when you are not able to pay the salaries or all the tough responsibilities which will come with your job or with your doing a startup. So it's not important. Probably in the future you will evolve and you will reach there. Today you are not that kind of person. So don't force yourself into something which is not aligned with your core. Second part is your experiences. This is very important for all the students out here. The early experiences which we have, especially the internships, the first job which we take up, extremely important because they more often than not shapes our entire career, what we will do after that. So choose your first job, especially if you are allowed to do internships within your curriculum, try to choose it very, very effectively, and also your first job will have a lasting impact. Third, your ambition should be clearly defined, written down, but remember that it should not be solidified, you should not be very rigid about it. Nothing can draw you down more than a very strong plan and you sticking to that plan only. Because as an individual you will evolve in your life. You will go from one stage to the other, your thought process will evolve, and so your ambition should also evolve, your aspiration should evolve. If that is not happening and you are blinded by only one thing, you will probably lose out on many opportunities which could have come your way. So be flexible with your ambitions, keep evolving. Fourth is always find an accountability partner, someone who can guide you, who can encourage you, who can hold you accountable for things which you are not doing or doing wrong, right? Every Arjuna needs a Krishna. So try and find your Krishna if you want to achieve that kind of success, accountability partner. So, you know, as they say, I'll just repeat this, that a salary is the drug they give to forget your dreams. This is true for people who want to achieve something larger in their life, do, you know, startups, do entrepreneurship. But remember, you have to understand, if you are not an entrepreneur from inside, if that is not something which is your true deep calling, then don't go for it, because it will be very, very tough. The life is going to be extremely difficult, and without your core aligned to your experiences in terms of doing something, right, you will have to struggle a lot. So, wealth building, let me summarize it with this, that wealth building is not a result of a spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire, right, and your ambitions is that fire, and your core and experiences and the actions which you take are the fuel which will keep that fire alive and your ambition going. So with this, thank you so much for being patient. Thank you.